Okay, so I just want to go through the steps of the meditations that we did after yogic sleep. And this morning meditation cycle is actually a very powerful foundation for the day. As I mentioned, it's on the CD called Meditations and Affirmations with the Master. And what this meditation practice does, if you start with yogic sleep, it's very important to first quieten the mind before you start meditation. Otherwise, if you meditate with your mind being very choppy and having chaotic, anxiety-filled thoughts, what happens is that when you place a mantra in a mind like that, the mantra doesn't have much of an effect. It's like a lake where a boat has been going through the lake. If the boat goes through the lake and the lake has a lot of waves and that kind of thing, when you drop a stone into the lake, you will not see the ripples. There won't be any effect. But if you have a very still lake, you drop a stone, then the ripples will be easily seen. So in order to have the best meditation experience, if you start with a practice like yogic sleep, then the mind will not only quieten, but you can get the mind to totally disappear. That state is a divine state in itself, because the mind is our number one obstacle to realizing ourselves as divine. Now, after you have a quiet mind, then you work with your prana in order to enliven the prana, which is the life force within the human being. We're not aware of our prana. Most of us do not maintain awareness on our breath, but through our breath, we can control our mind, because prana on the inside is the mind, and prana on the outside is the breath. So using your breath, you can control and regulate your mind. So this first practice of chaotic breathing, what this does is it's very helpful for releasing all negativity and obstacles and frustration and tensions and whatever you woke up with in the morning. If you're worried about the day or frustrated over yesterday, chaotic breathing will help to release all the energies which are preventing you from stepping into a new day. And you only need to do it even for a few minutes. Now, it may be challenging to imagine yourself exhaling through the base of the spine, but it's a visualization practice, not anything that you will experience per se. Some of you may feel a release from the base of the spine, but it's a mental visualization. Then, with the HAMSA practice, HAMSA is a very powerful meditation where Hum is individual ego consciousness. When you match the breath with this powerful sound, HAMSA, then you are purifying the ego by breathing it out with the sound hum, and breathing in divine awareness with the sound sa. So simply by this practice of working with the sounds hum and sa and regulating it with the breath, you're continually releasing ego consciousness and breathing in divine consciousness. It's a very beautiful, peaceful practice in order to get you into a divine state in an easy way. Now, when you make the breath very subtle and feel almost as if you're not breathing, that's when the ego consciousness merges with divine consciousness. So at that point, again, you reach that perfect place of stillness and unity consciousness. Are there any questions about these two practices? Nothing? Okay. Now, this is a meditation which, again, is very powerful and only needs to be practiced for a few minutes. If you follow this on the CD, each of these meditations are only about 3 minutes long. What we're doing with this practice is it's a powerful method to activate the third eye. The third eye is literally the doorway to enlightenment. Because when the third eye is open, then divine awareness naturally descends upon an individual. We already have divine awareness, but the third eye will open us into our divine intelligence, into states of supernormal powers. The third eye literally is the doorway to receiving all the intuitive divine information that you need in order to know what is it that I really need to do today that will give me the result that I want in my life. So when you do this practice, in the beginning, it may be a little challenging, but you have to keep your eyes closed. And while the eyes are closed, you are physically raising your eyeballs up as high as you can. So while the eyes are closed, you raise the eyeballs up, and while the eyeballs are raised up, you look up so that you imagine that the colored parts of your eyes are looking up vertically into the sky. So you're physically actually raising them, but with your imagination too, you imagine that the two eyes, your head is straight, but the two eyes are looking up, and a beam of light comes from the right eye. So if you can visualize that the right eye is already turned up as high as you can, the beam of light goes straight up through the top of the head and into the sky. And then similarly with the left eye, a beam of light shoots out from the left eye, but it's not going this way. Because the eye is looking up, the beam of light goes straight up through the top of the head. Now, to find this point of infinity, all you do, it will come with practice, but you follow these two beams of lights as high as you can. So with your consciousness, with your divine awareness, imagine that you're following the beams of light up as high as you can, that you can visualize and imagine. And at that point, you will naturally find that the two beams will come together at a point of convergence. That's the point of infinity. And that point actually matches the energy in the third eye. So when you find the point of infinity, immediately the third eye will become activated. And some of you may have felt a tingling sensation or some other kind of sensation at the third eye. Then, from that point of infinity, where the two beams of light meet, a light comes down, strikes the top of the head, and then further activates the third eye. If you do this practice on a daily basis, even just for a minute, beyond working to open the third eye, what it does in a very powerful way, you cannot think a negative thought while you're doing this. It will immediately change the nature of your thoughts. So even during the day, while you're at work or with family, if you want to immediately change your mental state, you can even do this practice for a minute. And you won't be able to access lower negative realities. When you look up and focus on infinity, you can only access a higher thought which is full of utter positivity. So it's a very short and a very powerful practice. Any questions on this? Okay.
Can we do it at night also?
You can do it at night, you can do it any time of the day. The only reason why I suggested it for the morning is that Baba made a CD called Meditations and Affirmations with the Master. He has a suggested morning practice and then yogic sleep at night. Because if you do yogic sleep before bedtime, you can drift into a divine state of sleep and have messages come to you, visit other universes. So many things can be productively done in our sleep if we activate our divine awareness before we go to sleep.